All right, by now you've heard Donald Trump say that he wants to annex Canada and make it the 51st state. But let's see what Canadians have to say about it.
That said, I have the strength and the smarts to stand up for this country. And my message to incoming President Trump is that first and foremost, Canada will never be the 51st state of the U.S. We have a heroic history.
That was Canada's conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, saying, no, we're not going to be the 51st state. But what does Fox News say about it?
Could the American flag be adding another star in 2025? Well, Trump's idea of making Canada great again by turning it into the 51st state is gaining some serious traction, especially from Canadian citizens. 33-year-old Ryan Hemsley told the Free Press that in Canada, quote, "You wake up and survive," he said. "There's no opportunity for growth. As much as I love Canada, becoming the 51st state of the United States would rejuvenate me." And he's not the only Canadian who's open to this idea.
That's Trump's former press secretary, Kylie McEnany, saying that some random dude in Canada wants to be annexed, because that's how Fox News works. They just quote a random dude. But then they brought on the Shark Tank guy.
Combined, we're the richest nation on earth by every single measure. We got everything we need. We don't need anything from anybody. And nobody should mess with us. Strength, economic strength, is power. And we should show the Chinese, don't screw with us. Don't even think about taking over Taiwan. We're combining our entities because we have together the largest markets with the most resources, and we all have the same interests in personal freedom. Canadians are basically 90% of the American DNA.
That's your Shark Tank guy, Kevin O'Leary, saying that if America and Canada come together, they'll tell China, don't mess with Taiwan. I don't know how that all works, but that's his math. And he keeps going.
What do the Canadians got? Unlimited water, unlimited power, unlimited paper, unlimited reserves of every kind. There's only 40 million of them, aside of California. And they don't want to squabble. They want to trade north, south, east, west. So the ideas are simple. Common currency, common defense of the North against the Chinese. I'm not a fan of the Chinese government. Everybody knows that. And I worry about that, and everybody should. And the Russians, too. We don't need them messing around up north. We could make that very, very clear to them. And what country on earth would mess with a combined economic entity? I'm going to Mar-a-Lago. All we're going to do is talk ideas. We're just two guys talking ideas. That's it.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Kevin O'Leary is so into it, he actually wants to go down to Mar-a-Lago and talk to Donald Trump about this idea of annexing Canada. Okay, where to start? First of all, the idea is just crazy. It's just nuts. And it is indicative of what we are going to be in for the next 4 years. I don't know who proposes these ideas to Donald Trump, if he comes up with them, if someone's in his ear, if he's got maybe a social media team that says just say more and more ridiculous things and it'll get us press, and then we can just, go with it a little bit and see what happens. I don't know where these ideas come from, but the idea of waking up and saying we're going to annex Canada and make it the 51st state is just cuckoo. But it's going to be 4 years of things like that. He's just going to keep throwing out ideas, and then we, or the media, has to then sit there and debate, is it real? Is it not real? Does he really want to do this? Like, how would you even go about annexing Canada? The way Kevin O'Leary was presenting it, it was more like he said like a European Union. So that's not annexing Canada. That's saying, hey, let's work together almost like a borderless entity. You have a passport, you can come, you can go. It's pretty easy to come and go into Canada and the U.S. right now. Maybe if you want to work, you need a visa to work in one or the next. But the flow of traffic with an American passport, with a Canadian passport, you can come and go pretty easily. But that's not annexing Canada. And the way Trump words it, annexing Canada, is a dig at Canada, a country of little more than 40 million people who have health care. Sure, they have problems, but they got a lot of good things going for them as well. Do they need America? They have all these resources that Kevin O'Leary says that America could use. Do they need America? I don't know. Do they want to be? Canadians famously travel the world telling the world they're not American. Americans that don't want to be discriminated against when they're traveling in Europe and they don't want to be looked down upon, because a lot of Europeans kind of like, American. So a lot of Americans will say they're Canadian just so that people treat them better, because Canada has a better, I would say, perception in other parts of the world, because they're not butting their nose into everyone's business, because they're not the big bully on the block, because there's a lot of stuff that Canada is not that America is. So the question is, does Canada need America? And the question also is, does America need Canada? Do we need Canada? Was that even a thing? That wasn't even a thing. And now it's a thing. Now I'm talking about it. Now you guys are going to comment about it. Now this guy Kevin O'Leary is saying he's going down to Mar-a-Lago to talk about it. Is it even a thing? Would you attack Canada? How do you annex Canada? Do you just call them up and go, yo, we're taking over, that's it? And Canada goes, all right. And no, I don't think so. I've been to Vancouver, I've been to Toronto, I've been to Montreal, I've been to Calgary, I've been to other cities and Ottawa, other places throughout Canada, and Canadians seem pretty happy. I'm not saying they're 100% content. You know, Kylie McEnany on Fox showed that one guy that wasn't content. But there's a lot of people that are content with living in Canada. They don't want to be the 51st state. Why would you be? By the way, I would say, compared to Americans, if you took Canada as a state, it would probably be more of a blue state than a red state. No guarantees, but most likely that's how it would work out. And then what would Trump and the GOP say? They would say, oh my gosh, we don't want them. They're our new Puerto Rico. Is that what would happen? Is that what would happen? Do these people think these things through before they tweet them or truth them or whatever it is that Donald Trump does? I don't know if they do. I really don't know if they do. So here we are talking about this annexation that's not going to happen. But what it has done and what it should remind all of us is we are in for 4 long years of cuckoo after cuckoo after cuckoo. And people, rather than, ignoring it and moving on or calling him out on it and moving on, are actually considering this to the point where it's an issue on Fox News where they're talking about it. Is Canada going to be annexed? You know how good it would be if we annexed? You know how bad China would feel if we annexed Canada? By the way, we haven't even started talking about what other countries are going to do. If you were to somehow annex Canada, you think that China's just going to sit back and be like, yeah, you know what? You guys can take Canada. We're not going to take Taiwan. If you took Canada, China the next day would be like, okay, the gloves are off. We're going after Taiwan. Putin would go, let me get Poland. Do you understand what that would do? How cuckoo this all is? And yet we got to consider it because, oh my gosh. Listen, I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I've got a comedy special on YouTube. It's called The Birds and the Bees. It's free. Check it out. And I'm also on tour. Come check me out live, mazjobrani.com. And I'm coming to Canada, actually. So come out, and if you want to be annexed, I'll put you in my luggage and bring you back. Bye.